Welcome, good afternoon, Fiifi-Manfred already back again to today's edition. Obviously post-match analysis of games. No, of course, the one with some of the most interest is the one between Chelsea and its team. Your friend the Crystal Palace away at the Selhurst Park, and I call this the Blues have been bruised again. Sad story at Selhurst Park. 4 games. Chelsea winning back okra Enzo Maresca, and then there were some good times and not so good times. There were some times that Chelsea were playing excellently well, especially in the first half. Totally dominating ball, no, imposing on Momoa game, no, and making sure that they were going to get a goal in the first half. In fact, in the first 15 minutes, na Cole Palmer shego, but in this conversation you will realize Sana Cole Palmer or Dumfu Kumfu time and I say Cole Palmer boy Chelsea no boy, but in a dire situation also Cole Palmer was lackadaisical on the ball and at Chelsea a drop a point at Selhurst Park. But even before we delve into the detailed tactical analysis, Enzo Maresca on the ball, no off the ball, and we go to other games that cost just the scorelines. So Man City a boy against team your friend of West Ham United. Man City ball match ended by 4-1 to Manchester City. Erling Haaland, Savinho, all of these guys get on the score sheet, and it looks as if Manchester City are getting back into the fray. Any conversation with English Premier League, it's a good one for them, our Manchester City, and the fact that they are getting their results now in the last few games. Of course, Tottenham was playing Newcastle boy. Newcastle were able to win the game. It means that in the English Premier League table, Newcastle are closely in on Chelsea. In the last 3-4 games, Newcastle have been winning, and then Newcastle at the 5th position, just 1 point behind Chelsea. Oko, the performance blog on Newcastle for now in the last 4 games, in fact, 6 games of English Premier League, including 1 AFL. Newcastle for are on a huge resurgence this season. Aston Villa for competition also winning 2-1 against Ruud van Nistelrooy Leicester City team. What that means in the conversation of the English Premier League, NSL. So Leicester City at the still relegation battle, almost 14 points on Ipswich Town, and the Kieran McKenna 15 points also over there. Unai Emery fear against team your friend Leicester City, they were able to get a job done over there. Whilst Manchester City winning, like I said earlier, Brentford away, Coco Shea team your friend Southampton by 5-0, whilst Chelsea, like I said, away to Crystal Palace, ball 1-1 draw. But what happened? I posted a pre-match analysis and I catch you said Crystal Palace for manager Oliver Glasner I can't see me. Now I say a little bit of a call out on Enzo Maresca. And I say Oliver Glasner I kind of say, oh no, on Jim this Enzo Maresca beat me surprising tactically. Now the way at Chelsea ball the same thing. 3-1-5, 3-1-6, 3-2-5. Malo goes to keep you with sometimes about underlap, sometimes about into the half space. Sani Manana Chelsea for the only Chelsea for the proof will be no score no more building. That's the only thing that they are going to do. It sets the tone for the game. Now when the lineups came, obviously, Obian himself Chelsea started. The biggest shock was the fact that a friend of Joshua Kofi Champon was in the game. Joshua Champon played at right back, at right centre back from the team. And a friend Levi Cole. Then played fullbacks of Marco Crea and a friend of Malagusto in the game. Essentially, playing normal back forward short. And Enzo Fernandez, Moise Caicedo, Cole Palmer as the midfield 3 and a top 3 about Joao Felix, about Pedro Neto, Christopher Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson, and our branch friend Jadon Sancho. So the plan was clear. But tactically, something did change. What changed in Chelsea game? Senya Mekano. I think because Oliver Glasner Enzo Maresca said he doesn't think Enzo Maresca beat him as a Sammy Bianington. Enzo Maresca wanted to change something. Now, again, maybe not because of what Oliver Glasner said, because Glasner can't send me now. and match near Bonene. So maybe even if you wanted to change that because of Glasner, it probably would have been too late. But essentially, Enzo Maresca Sasan Bibi. One board a regular 3-1-6 in no. One board a regular 3-2-5 in no. Now what Enzo Maresca did, however, was that this weekend, Obo in a regular 4-3-3 formation at the now, so actually Enzo Maresca needs team since Oba Chelsea, Obo in a 4-2-3-1. Even on the ball, Obo somebody to come and invert next to Moise Caicedo. Even in times where Chelsea have played nominally without the 4-2-3-1, what happens is that Caicedo becomes a lone pivot and Chelsea build in a diamond. Now, because Crystal Palace falling ball with you, normal ball in a 3-backer, Niani said they will try and have the ball and try and dominate the ball into them. Now, Enzo Maresca decided to go into a 4-3-3. Now, it solved certain issues our Chelsea build up now. Now, what it solved was that consistently, Chelsea now didn't want to have just a sweeper and then that's in the cut and dot profile of centre back. What they wanted to do was that every time Joshua Champon, any Abrantia, your friend, what's his name, Levi Cole, should be there to deal with duels and turnovers. It also added Moise Caicedo. Into Chelsea Red's defense to became a 3-member man of Caicedo, Joshua Champon, and Abrantia friend Levi Cole. Now that meant that Chelsea had fullbacks for the very first time, and Enzo Maresca almost overlapping any underlapping runs. Into Shaya, Malo Gusto was not coming inverted into the half space or coming inverted next to Moise Caicedo. Malo Gusto constantly was keeping the width. Into Chelsea Nyabo, he stays out wide. No stretching when Nyabo man. Then the Chelsea wingers now in Pedro Neto, any Jadon Sancho will now come inside. So on the left hand side, Marco Correa keeps the width, then Jadon Sancho comes inside. On the right hand side, Malo Gusto keeps the width, then Pedro Neto comes inside. Essentially to try and use the goal threat of two players now, and also to surprise Crystal Palace, because obviously because of what Glasner had said, and also because of the games that Chelsea about this season, it was very clear except Obia Jinimun. The plan is that Abia Chelsea was still in the same way, and that's how Chelsea plays. So then they were going to prepare in that fashion, and that's something that Enzo Maresca did change. And I think that it solved some of the problems that you're winning against Ipswich, some of the problems you're winning against Tima, Yefreno, Everton, some of the problems that you're winning against even Fulham. It solved some of that problem. And in the first half, Chelsea were blistering. Chelsea Nyabo now dictate the pace of the game or control game, no, or play out from the back. And Chelsea totally dominated the first half of the game, because really it was a different plan than what Oliver Glasner had prepared for. It was a different plan than what Abrantia, your friend Oliver Glasner had hoped Senka Chelsea better matching him, because Chelsea were essentially better in that regard. And of course, like we said, he brought on Abrantia friend Joshua Kofi Champon to try and to try and help the game in terms of the physicality. Obi Oshe Joshua Champon Biano will tell you, say it wasn't a bad game in that regard. It wasn't a game that Joshua Champon was bad, and I said he wasn't good enough, and I said he wasn't playing well. Essentially in the first half, Joshua Champon was playing particularly well. Now, the bigger problem was that Solskjaer in the first half at Chelsea was solid. First half, we control game, we created chances. Chelsea were super solid. But the problem again still persists, is that Chelsea only shot on target was that Cole Palmer goal. Chelsea could not kill off games, and they had to kill off games. Meaning, say Obi Beka say, oh, the team is going and stuff like that. But really, like I've always said, when you're playing in matches this year, you need to try and kill games now, because you must in recent times Chelsea share 1-0 like Fulham. Not it is what it one Mr. Fulham no. Everton Chelsea intimately go. Away at Ipswich Town or Chelsea game when Timanche go. So some of these mistakes do come, and you didn't want to throw the game to the wind and say, okay, watch one, no action on such an 1. You need to want to kill off the game. You want to score 4 or 5. So I'm 5-1, 4-1 crap on far in that regard. And the changes that Enzo Maresca used changed a lot of things. And like I said, Chelsea played with 2 CBs. They the Chelsea build up from the back. It becomes 3 CBs. Now this time it was Joshua Chapo. In fact, so the goal now. Born a building up Jadon Sancho goal now. It came from the 2 centre backs opening up. Then Levi Cole finding Jadon Sancho, who had dropped deeper into Jadon Sancho in build up. More or less became like the fullback. and over inside kakra because Marco Crea was being pressed by a branch friend Tyreek Mitchell. Then he dropped, allowed the ball to pass through his leg, then have Cole Palmer getting in between the lines coming between the left hand channel and then the right hand channel to try and help the team to get a goal over there, which is something that he did very, very well. I mean, in terms of what Cole Palmer wanted to do, in terms of what Chelsea wanted to do in that regard. Cole Palmer coming in between the lines, and that's exactly what Joao Felix did. Not Joao Felix, Jadon Sancho did to find Cole Palmer, and obviously when he says finding Cole Palmer or boxing, now Pugh go somewhere, the calmness, the coolness to score goals for you there. Cole Palmer, Chelsea had the goal very early in the game, and the problem, however, was that so match be saying what's early goal. You want to build on it, you want to kill the game. But throughout the first half, Chelsea had chances. Chelsea dominated ball. Chelsea control game. But then still the goal wasn't coming. And for me, that's where the bigger problem is now with the team. Not just the tactical setup on the ball, off the ball, how Chelsea press. I'll talk about how Crystal Palace, for instance, and credits to Oliver Glasner in the second half, and how Chelsea could not adjust to Crystal Palace for the press, and how Crystal Palace were playing through them in the second half, and then again, it made Crystal Palace gain a lot of confidence over them. Now, because of Sadio and both fullbacks now will stretch the pitch, Senebeya, Palmer and Enzo will now be in the half spaces. The job of Palmer and Enzo was taking the half space. So it means that in this system, not Enzo Jumana or more difficult because on the ball, Enzo plays as an extra DM to progress the ball. Then off the ball, there's going to be the job that Palmer and Enzo will do in between the lines over there. It's important like that. Senebeya, the other two wingers will come inside as inside 10s, and then you will have a branch here, the two wingers also stretching the play. Senebeya, now Chelsea wingers will not be overloaded or will not be outnumbered in wide areas or will not be isolated in wide areas because usually when you have very aggressive fullbacks or wingbacks like Tyreek Mitchell or any idea in your teams and Richards, you want to isolate Chelsea wingers with them. Senegal will be aggressive, they will win duels like that. So what Chelsea wanted to do essentially was to deal with sad stress. I mean, sad issues not more having against Ipswich, against Everton by playing players inside, wingers inside, having Palmer and Enzo Fernandez as inside 10 and then stretching the play. It was something that really Chelsea wanted to do. I mean, in that regard, it means that not Enzo, Cole Palmer, Maresca was going to be the pivot, but it didn't really worry Chelsea because, especially in the first half, Crystal Palace had prepared for the 3-2-5. Until they didn't know who to press, where to press, so Chelsea could easily build up from the back. At the same time, able to provide overlapping runs, like I did mention. Another problem in transition, and it's that Chelsea now has somebody to do with Jean-Philippe Mateta, the aerial duels, and they have another person behind him, and that was Levi Cole, and then Brantia, your friend Levi, Joshua Champon, whilst Moises Caicedo will be the sweeper around them. Crystal Palace, in a threat on my wings, on my wing backs now. Usually with Brantia, your friend, Papi Matatsa, when he pulls the thing. And I think that in the first half, when Usha first half, all the analysis, you will say that Enzo Maresca is a genius. Because, like I was saying, Oliver Glasner catcher is what to miss Sabibia. Then he goes into the game and then changes the most important things in the game. Changes things where he has to change. Does the change what Opesoye and then gets a foothold of the game. And Oyusu now overlapping fullbacks, and something I've not seen before. Enzo Maresca always wanted his fullbacks to be inside. And like I said, tactical dynamism is very, very important in the modern game. When your coach is so you cannot be too predictable by our opponents. Necessarily, you're going to be in trouble. I think that in the first half, for one, Joshua Champon was good and made the composure on the ball and in the decision making. When to go into a tackle, when to go into a draw, when not to go into a tackle. The reading of the game was good. Yes, he didn't allow the nerves to worry him. Apart from Sai equalizer now, Crystal Palace phoning and you would have said that Chelsea probably would have had a good game with our brand friend Joshua Champon. And like maybe I make kind of profiles be saying over names to Joshua Champon. He makes my mistakes and it's fine. My young centre back, see how with him you can now play our game. Chelsea have okay 2 games. I mean MSC have 2 games with our brand friend Axel Disasi. And Oliver Glasner set his team Chelsea test CBs more with the long balls, and Mateta caused issues over there. And Osha in the second half, when Crystal Palace came in there, they decided to now test Joshua Champon with long balls now. So now they will leave Jean-Philippe Mateta with Joshua Champon. So ball long balls now on any battle, on any duel. And for me, Joshua Champon was good in that regard because Now, the boy knew that he had to deal with duels like that. He had to go in and deal with Abrante friend Philippe-Manfred. He had to go into those battles and try and win them over them. And like I said, Osho beat Malo Gusto. In overlapping, it was good. But that means that if Malo Gusto is overlapping, he had more grounds to come and cover to track the runs of Abrante friend and Eberechi Eze. So came up, and it's something that Chelsea, tried to hold on into it very well. And Osho sat the other games that corner. In fact, in the second half, I think Crystal Palace, like I said, changed their build-up approach. And they brought in Abrante Freno, Ismail Sarr more centrally. In the second half, in the first half, they were keeping the width more with Abrante Freno, Ismail Sarr as a wing-back. Now in the second half, he changed from that 3-back, played Mitchell, the 2 centre-back of Guillemot, and Abrante Freno Lecroix, then played Richards at the back 4. And our boy Ismail Sarr as an inside number 10, as an extra 10, with Abrante Freno, Eberechi. So constantly, they were worrying Chelsea. Especially, I was on Marco Correa side because he was pulling Marco Correa out. Then Richards was making a very good job over there. Then Ismail Sarr would drop deeper to come and help in terms of build up and then build up from the back and play out from the back. And it's Sunday, man. And I think that it was really, really affecting Chelsea in the opening part of the first half over there. And I think that Enzo Fernandez like this was a very good player. This setup really demanded a lot from him as a player because earlier in the season, I can say very different for Enzo Fernandez to play in a 3-back system. To play in a 4-3-3 system. It was going to be an issue for him over there. But then again, you look at the game and look at it over there and how good Chelsea can be. And some of the things that goes on, how Chelsea can learn from some of these issues. Incredibly frustrating. Nicholas Jackson also much. I don't think that he was good enough. He's not being bad, but actually, virtually every shot about Bobiano has not been executed as a just wide. And Osha in the second half of Nicholas Jackson, we got tired of Lecroix. Try to, arrange himself very well, get the angle right, and then find the bottom corner. He didn't get it. One thing is when it's poor technique, another thing when it's straight bad luck. And for me, I think a very, very good bad luck over the clean contact on our quad volley in the first half, off post. Great move to create an angle for the outside with a boot shot past the post, shot across the face of goal, which is no look weaker foot over there. And like I said, it wasn't a bad performance from him, but he was just bang unlucky. Again, to be very honest, I think that in the last 2 games against Chelsea, Ipswich and in Crystal Palace, there have been some level of unluckiness. And so also a change Enzo Maresca here. He's trying to tell Nkuku something. Say, the number 9 spot to no pay, and so you're pressing, why aggressive, why you want Nkuku yes guy. And into the man Gil rather came in and then left Abrante friend Christopher Nkuku on the bench to come in and then go and play. When he won Marco Correa at some point in time, defense players now start to say, lose concentration. Then in and around the box, Cole Palmer, your PM boss one, find an option and play forward and create the chance. Turn over. I don't know what Cole Palmer was doing. And after the game, Cole Palmer tonight park and so for an extra 10 minutes, and why frustrated. What was he going? Turning around into danger. Then of course, Crystal Palace phone winning the ball over transition. Now Chelsea could not catch, Malo Gusto could not catch a better chase. Eze squared the ball into the path of Jean-Philippe-Mateta over there. Of course, Jean-Philippe-Mateta, an empty post over there. Although now, Abrante friend could create a person or block his out, and it didn't happen. And from there, Chelsea tried to get a win. Enzo Fernandez came close, but really, it wasn't coming together. In fact, in the second half in itself, the performance wasn't the best. The passes to each other wasn't the best. Noni Manuel Kibem on the left-hand side, he didn't look like somebody who really wanted to influence the game like that over there, based on Chelsea form. Absolutely a gamer, like I said at the beginning, then a gamer, me too confident at Chelsea, but also a game that I thought that Chelsea had to win because that teams around Chelsea, winning, Crystal Palace, Manchester City are winning, Oshe Obitse, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle are winning. So Chelsea can't afford to be dropping points as it stands now going forward. And I think the first half was solid, it was dominant, it was domineering, it was one of the best that Chelsea have seen. Tactical plan was good. The game followed the second part, and like we've seen in the last 3 games, Sani Akana, Oshe Ipswich game, Oshe Everton game, Oshe Fulham game, get a goal. Chelsea being a goal. Now in the second half, I a little bit like Kadesika. They can't really put a foot out of the game, and second opposition teams now play better. In fact, in the first half of the season, near opposition teams rather have been Chelsea played better in the second half than in the first half, and they get to win games over there. But it didn't happen like that. I think that this is an issue of decision making at certain points in time that Chelsea should have done better. Palace headed Chelsea to a lot of pressure in the second half, and looks like Chelsea was starting the second half. Should Maresca have made some changes earlier? And I think that's the bigger question. Because your players are benches, Reece James was on the bench, but Reece Bar, Bobby Yuhana, Roberto just for a champ was having a good game. You don't want to take him out. Say, Oka say, oh, boy, or Chiron. Now say, oh, Bobby, Obi say in Kuku, and Kuku would come in for Nicholas Jackson. Didn't really influence the game. But maybe time we Nicholas Jackson film now Cole Palmer Warner. Maybe it was time for Enzo Maresca to bring on Christopher and Kuku also for Cole Palmer. Maybe that would have helped us so, because now you're going to have McGee and Nkuku who have played with each other in a conference league. You're going to have two players, you're going to have players, and there's going to be that telepathic relationship. But taking off Nicholas Jackson, allowing Cole Palmer to be in a game where you probably should have taken him off, didn't help at all. Crystal Palace pressure very well. I think that they were very, very good in the second half. One winning second balls. Chelsea making a lot of mistakes. Second half performance, no, it wasn't good. And this is a massive drop of points when it comes to top 4 race. I think that's really, really going to affect Chelsea in the conversation of the top 4. But generally, it was not a good result at all for Chelsea. But you give a lot of credit to our branch friend Joshua Kofi Champon, and I think that he was good. The debut was a very, very good one. I think that Enzo Maresca could have done more. I really do think that Enzo Maresca could have done more. I don't think the problem is one thing. Chelsea key players, not Abre. And it's because Maresca doesn't trust the squad to replace them or his replacement. Palmer and Caicedo definitely look a little bit tired. Enzo is trying, but his rate will run to fumes too. And there's no midfield backup. Lavia and Hall, Luis Hall, Epra, buying another midfielder, careless. Probably Chelsea need to bring back a branch friend Leslie Ogochukwu and then add to the numbers. I really do think, yes, there's some level of fatigue, but then Enzo Maresca should have bring some changes over there. Enzo really should have bring the changes over there. Time and Enzo Maresca, take care of Nicholas Jackson to bring on a bench friend Christopher, to bring on McGee. That was the time Cole Palmer should have gone off. And then you bring on a bench friend in Kuku. Because see, these are two players that have been playing next to each other in the conference league. They're telepathic enough. They've played amongst each other. And we know that Enzo Maresca doesn't accept that in Kuku is a number 9. In fact, even me, who doesn't have UEFA license, knows saying Kuku is number 9. McGee is number 9. Until McGee number 9 as a number 9 position, that's where Nicholas Jackson feel like for like I said, Nicholas Jackson wasn't bad all game. You can't say he had a bad performance. However, he was just bang unlucky. 3 balls, 1 volley, struck cleanly, another one outside foot, good one, hits the post, and then the other one spread himself with his weaker foot and flashes wide. You can't blame him. He did okay. But we and I like the fact that Fred McGee touchdown. He gave Nicholas Jackson an extra 10 minutes before so in a film. And we in the film eventually in the 88th minute. That's the time Enzo Maresca should have pulled off Cole Palmer. Also, and bring on Abrente Fred and Kuku, or even Joao Felix also in the game. Now you are going to get a team of players who are now hungry to come and rank some changes and to come and impose themselves in matches. Enzo Maresca decided against that, and I think that's really what has caused him. So 4 matches some of them does come from me. The biggest difference between Chelsea winning and then when Chelsea are putting chance win. Chelsea clinical. We're very clinical on first 15 matches now. Chelsea winning games too because of our clinical ability. Cole Palmer will be a shego in Kuku, Noni Madueke, they all came on the scoring goals despite not keeping clean sheets at the time. Nicholas Jackson is now slightly out of form, so Chelsea can count on his goals. The goals are not really coming like that. And the defense also struggling like that. And 1 goal should be enough for a serious team and to get a job done. Chelsea are conceding 2 errors like again this season. Maresca Cochirino, but players now after this 1 week break will be not till the EFL Cup on the bottom. I hope said they will do enough to get results in the subsequent games now. Now the English Premier League, it's blown wide open. Barca more game, Madrid more game. After that, we'll bring you a post-match analysis. But then, take care. Bye-bye.